thought that that was something that I wanted to share in that way. And creatively, we worked as
habits. What are the products that they're gravitating to? And I had this incredible fortune of
then you're telling your own story. Yeah. You're telling your own story and how you show up in the world, what you do.
Let's rewind to the moment Meghan Markle decided Paris Fashion Week needed her presence. This wasn't some planned appearance that had been coordinated for months. This was an 11th hour decision that sent shockwaves through an event people had been preparing for weeks. Imagine you're one of the models who'd rehearsed for weeks, or a designer who'd poured your soul into every stitch, only to wake up and find out Meghan Markle's about to hijack your entire show. That's exactly what happened. And what started as her grand comeback turned into one of the messiest fashion disasters anyone's seen in years.
What if I told you that the man who knew Meghan Markle before the crowns, before the cameras, before the chaos,
from laughing at the wrong moment, to financial arrangements that didn't add up, to her own talent agency pretending she doesn't exist, this Paris trip exposed way more than she ever planned on showing. Real quick before we get into this, if you want the full story on how this whole thing fell apart, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what's coming is absolutely wild. Go ahead and drop a like if you're ready for all the tea. Trust me, you don't want to miss where this goes. Let's dive in. The fashion house had everything lined up. The lighting, the music, the choreography, every single detail crafted to showcase their new collection.
We have to speak about Meghan Markle because she's been mocked at Paris Fashion Week.
Paris Fashion Week is known for silence.
And then Meghan decided she wanted in, not because she'd had some long-standing relationship with the brand. Not because she'd been invited months in advance like everyone else, but because someone, somewhere, convinced her this was the perfect opportunity to remind the world she still matters. Here's the thing. The creative director welcomed her with open arms. And why wouldn't he? Free worldwide publicity on a scale most designers can only dream about. Whether you love her or can't stand her, everyone was going to be talking about the brand the second she walked in. That's marketing gold.
That's right. So the ads were very creepy. They were offensive, actually, more than creepy, I think. And they were children posing with teddy bears in bondage gear. And
the new creative director couldn't have asked for a better launch into the spotlight. Controversy sells, and Meghan's walking, breathing controversy. But the cost? Astronomical. Every headline the next day was about Meghan. Not the collection, not the craftsmanship or the vision behind the designs. Just Meghan. Her outfit, her hair, her expression. The models who'd worked their entire careers for a moment like this got shoved to the sidelines. The makeup artists who'd been creating looks for weeks, zero recognition. The entire team behind the show became background noise in the Meghan circus. And let's be real about something else.
Meghan Markle's rise to fame has always been surrounded by calculated ambition, charm, and manipulation.
The average person watching at home isn't going to buy a single piece from this collection. It's too expensive, too exclusive. The fashion house caters to a very specific clientele, and Meghan's appearance didn't change that. Sure, maybe someone out there with deep pockets saw something they liked, but the real audience, the everyday people making up the bulk of social media chatter, they're not shopping there. They're just watching the drama unfold. Behind closed doors, though, people started asking questions pretty quickly. How'd this happen so fast? Who coordinated all the logistics? Who paid for Meghan to fly halfway across the world, stay at one of Paris's most prestigious hotels, and glide around in chauffeured cars? Because those bills don't just disappear. Someone had to sign off on them. Someone had to transfer money. And the more people started digging, the more they realized Meghan's version of what happened didn't quite add up. The creative director says they were just texting. Meghan's team hints at some mutual collaboration. But the bills, they tell a completely different story. And when you follow the money, the entire carefully constructed narrative starts to crumble.
Meghan, can I get a shot, Meghan? Meghan, please. Meghan, one look, Meghan, you are gorgeous, Meghan.
Let's talk about the puppet master behind this entire Paris spectacle. Marcus Anderson, the man who's been glued to Meghan's side for years. The one person she seemingly can't shake off even when everything around her's falling apart. He's not just a friend. He's a strategist, a connector, someone who knows that every time Meghan's name hits the headlines, his does too. It's symbiotic, it's calculated, and word is this Paris Fashion Week stunt was his brainchild from the very beginning. People close to the situation say, Marcus was the one who pitched the whole idea of Meghan reinventing herself in a completely different arena. Forget Hollywood. Forget streaming deals and podcasts that go nowhere. Fashion is where the real power players operate, and Marcus knew it. He started planting seeds, making connections, reaching out to people who could make this Paris appearance happen. And Meghan, desperate for any kind of win, she jumped at the opportunity without thinking twice. But here's where their supposedly unbreakable friendship hit a major snag. During the fashion show, a model stumbled on the runway. It happens.
Rumor has it that Meghan Markle was paid upwards of $1 million for her appearance.
High heels, slippery surfaces, intense pressure. Anyone with an ounce of empathy would show concern. But Meghan, she laughed. Right there with cameras trained on her face, she laughed at someone else's misfortune. And Marcus Anderson was livid. People backstage say he was furious. He knew those cameras were capturing every flicker of expression, every reaction, every single moment. He'd orchestrated this entire appearance to rebuild Meghan's image. And she just handed the tabloids ammunition on a silver platter.
No wonder Christine Scott ignored Meghan's attempts to approach her, but shows great respect for Queen Elizabeth. Recently, Meghan made...
The headlines the next day weren't about her stunning outfit or her triumphant return to the spotlight. They were about her laughing while someone struggled. That's not what Marcus wanted at all, and let's be real. That laugh revealed something deeper. It showed a complete lack of awareness, a fundamental misunderstanding of how to behave in public when every move's being scrutinized. Marcus has spent years trying to manage Meghan's public persona, and moments like that make his job nearly impossible. You can orchestrate the perfect event, secure the perfect venue.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one expected that a single subconscious move would make her look like a...
Coordinate the perfect entrance, but you can't control someone who doesn't understand the game they're playing. Their friendship, once described as unbreakable, is now reportedly hanging by a thread. Marcus benefits from his association with Meghan, but there's only so much damage control one person can do. And when your client keeps sabotaging herself at every turn, eventually you've got to wonder if it's worth the effort. But Marcus didn't just help coordinate the Paris trip. From what we're hearing, he was involved in the financial arrangements too. The hotel bookings, the transportation.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one expected that a single subconscious move would make her look like...
The entire logistics operation. He knew who was paying for what. He knew the truth behind the scenes. And now that the story's unraveling, he's stuck between protecting Meghan and protecting his own reputation. Because when those hotel bills started circulating, when people started asking who really funded this Parisian adventure, Marcus's name kept coming up. And that's a problem neither of them can laugh away. Now let's talk about the moment the entire carefully crafted narrative fell apart. The creative director, riding high on all the publicity Meghan's appearance generated, sat down for an interview.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one expected that a single subconscious move would make her look like...
He was probably feeling confident, maybe a little too comfortable. And that's when he said something that completely contradicted the story Meghan's team had been pushing. He admitted they barely knew each other. They'd been texting back and forth. That's it. No long-time friendship, no deep professional relationship, just casual messages between two people who saw an opportunity. This revelation is devastating for Meghan's version of things. Her team had been spinning this as some kind of organic collaboration, a mutual admiration between fashion minds.
No one realized it at the time, but Meghan's over-the-top performance made her a laughingstock. People who truly have status don't need to...
A meeting of creative souls who just happened to align at the perfect moment. But the creative director just pulled back the curtain and showed everyone the truth. They were strangers coordinating a publicity stunt through text messages. And it gets worse. The outfit Meghan wore down that runway, the dress everyone was analyzing and critiquing, it wasn't even designed for her. Turns out it was created for another A-list celebrity. Someone with actual fashion credibility. Someone who presumably looked at the opportunity and decided to pass.
Did you notice? Meghan Markle openly complained about royal rules on Bloomberg like a brat. In a recent interview, she spread her...
Maybe they sensed the desperation. Maybe they didn't want to be associated with whatever this was turning into. Whatever their reasons, they said no. So Meghan got the hand-me-down. The rejected dress, the outfit that was literally made for someone else's body, someone else's moment, someone else's brand, and she accepted it without hesitation. Free designer clothes. Absolutely. Doesn't matter that it wasn't meant for her. Doesn't matter that she was second choice or maybe even third or fourth. She took what she could get. Think about what that says. Meghan Markle, who...
Meghan mocked a model who fell on the runway, and Camilla laughed at the Inuit people welcoming her. No one noticed that they are actually the same kind of...
constantly positions herself as this powerful, independent woman who doesn't need anyone's approval, is out here accepting rejected outfits just to get her foot in the door. That's not the behavior of someone with options. That's the behavior of someone so desperate for relevance that they'll take whatever scraps are offered. And the creative director's slip-up didn't just expose the weak relationship. It exposed the entire transactional nature of this arrangement. He got worldwide publicity. She got photos for Instagram and a chance to pretend she's still a player in elite circles.
The Sussex marriage is in shambles, and it's not just Meghan and Harry in the mess. There's a third player in this game.
Nobody was doing this out of genuine respect or admiration. It was pure calculation on both sides. But here's the thing about trying to control a narrative when you're dealing with multiple parties. Everyone has to stick to the same story. You've got to coordinate your messaging, make sure every interview aligns, ensure nobody accidentally reveals something that contradicts the official version. And that takes skill, preparation, and people who actually know what they're doing. Meghan doesn't have that. Her team can't even keep a simple origin story straight.
This short 1-minute video shows exactly who Meghan Markle is behind the mask, and we can get a sense without the help of a...
The creative director says they were texting. Meghan's camp hints at a deeper connection. And now everyone's wondering what else they're lying about. If they can't be honest about how they met, what else are they hiding? Now we get to the part that exposes everything. While Meghan was posing for cameras outside the Plaza Athénée, acting like she'd personally chosen this luxurious Parisian hotel as part of her sophisticated European adventure, someone behind the scenes was quietly paying the bills. And it wasn't her. People with access to what went down revealed that the fashion house covered everything.
Hey guys, Nina here. If you don't know, I'm...
The hotel suite at one of Paris's most prestigious addresses, the limousine services that shuttled her around the city. The entire operation was bankrolled by the brand, not by Meghan Markle. And here's why that matters. When you're footing your own bill, you're in control. You're making independent choices. But when someone else is paying, you're basically their guest, their investment, their promotional tool. Word is, Meghan would never open her own purse for something like this. She had zero intention of spending her own money to fly halfway around the world for a fashion show.
Meghan Markle just tried to make her Paris Fashion Week debut, and honestly, it looked more like a last-minute PTA meeting than high fashion.
There had to be something in it for her beyond just publicity. Free accommodation, free transportation, free designer clothes. That's the only way this trip made sense from her perspective. And the fashion house, desperate for that worldwide attention, was willing to pay the price. But now that the truth's coming out, both sides are scrambling to rewrite the narrative. The brand's trying to distance itself from the financial arrangements, probably realizing that paying for Meghan's entire Parisian adventure.
Meghan Markle kicked off CNN this morning after a heated dispute with Anderson Cooper. Meghan Markle
makes them look desperate. And Meghan's team is staying suspiciously quiet about who funded what, hoping people will just assume she handled everything herself, like the independent businesswoman she pretends to be. Except the bills don't lie. People who work in hospitality, people who process these transactions, they talk. Privacy agreements only go so far when the story's this juicy. Sources close to the Plaza Athénée have confirmed that the bills weren't sent to Meghan. They were directed elsewhere, and that elsewhere leads straight back to the fashion house.
Duchess Meghan is serving face at her first Paris Fashion Week for the Balenciaga show today. Dozens of photos.
This completely changes the dynamic of what happened in Paris. This wasn't a collaboration between equals. This was a transaction. The brand paid for access to Meghan's name recognition, and Meghan accepted payment in the form of luxury accommodations and designer clothes. There's nothing wrong with that arrangement in theory, except both sides tried to pretend it was something else entirely. And here's the thing about lies. They only work when everyone sticks to the story. But when the creative director admits they barely knew each other, and the money trail shows who really paid.
Meanwhile, if you are a watcher of the royal family and you like secrets, you might want to sit down because this is...
And Meghan's own agency refuses to acknowledge the trip happened, the entire house of cards collapses. The fashion house is now dealing with backlash they didn't anticipate. They thought paying for Meghan would generate positive buzz. Instead, they're getting criticism for enabling a publicity stunt that overshadowed their actual work. And Meghan's facing questions she can't answer without admitting she didn't fund her own trip. Here's where things get truly humiliating for Meghan. William Morris Endeavor, one of the most powerful talent agencies in the world.
This was supposed to be just another daytime interview until Meghan Markle and Kelly Clarkson clashed on live TV. And Meghan,
the company that's supposed to be building her brand and turning her into a global superstar, did absolutely nothing when she showed up in Paris. Zero promotion, zero fanfare, zero acknowledgement whatsoever. Their social media stayed completely silent. Their website didn't get updated with a single press release celebrating their client's major fashion moment. Nothing. Let's put this in perspective. When an agency represents someone, especially someone they're actively trying to build up, they capitalize on every opportunity.
Meghan's pattern of trying to one-up Kate exposed. Was Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week appearance another?
Every appearance gets promoted, every milestone gets announced, every achievement gets plastered across their platforms, because that's how you demonstrate value to current and potential clients. You show the world that signing with your agency means getting support, visibility, and strategic promotion. But Meghan showed up at Paris Fashion Week, generated headlines around the entire planet, and her own agency treated it like it never happened. That's not an oversight. That's not someone forgetting to post. That's a deliberate decision to distance themselves from whatever this was.
Meghan Markle continues to remind us why she's just like us, flaunting $300,000 in jewelry.
And that decision speaks volumes about how William Morris Endeavor really views their relationship with Meghan Markle. Think about what other celebrities get from their agencies. Coordinated press releases, strategic partnerships, brand deals that make sense, public support during major appearances. These agencies have entire departments dedicated to making sure their clients look good and stay relevant. Meghan has none of that. She's out here winging it, making last-minute decisions, crashing events, and her agency's just watching from the sidelines like they're observing.
She's a shameless woman. Marcus Anderson slammed the door in Prince Harry's face as spills Meghan Markle sold Princess.
A car crash in slow motion. Industry insiders are already whispering about what this silence means. When an agency goes quiet on a client, it usually signals one of two things. Either they're preparing to part ways, or they've already mentally checked out and are just running out the clock. Neither scenario's good for Meghan. Both scenarios suggest that the people who are supposed to be invested in her success have given up. And you know what makes this even more embarrassing? Other clients at William Morris Endeavor get the full treatment.
Right, this is happening right now. This is Paris Fashion Week. Meghan Markle is in attendance at the...
Their appearances get amplified, their projects get promoted, their brands get built with precision and care. Meghan gets radio silence. She's paying for representation and getting absolutely nothing in return. Or maybe she's not paying, and that's part of the problem. Maybe the agency realized she's more trouble than she's worth. Because here's the reality. Agencies want clients who listen, clients who take direction, clients who understand that building a brand requires strategy, patience, and consistency. Meghan does the opposite. She makes impulsive decisions,
So there she is. She's angry. Harry's trying to smile because he knows the cameras are there. He's been trained all his life to smile.
Ignores advice and then wonders why nothing sticks. And William Morris Endeavor has apparently decided they're not interested in fighting that battle anymore. So while Meghan was strutting around Paris thinking she'd just pulled off a major coup, her own agency was back in Los Angeles pretending she doesn't exist. That's not how you build a career. That's how a career quietly dies. Get this, before the Paris trip even happened, before she crashed that fashion show, there were actual conversations going on behind the scenes. Senior figures at the fashion house were quietly discussing making Meghan.
You can't choose just to take the fun stuff in any job.
Just a few months after he
An informal ambassador for the brand. Not a full contract, but a relationship that could have benefited both sides if handled right. This was a real opportunity, the kind that could have opened doors, generated steady income, and given Meghan the fashion world credibility she's been desperately chasing. All she had to do was play it smart. Build the relationship slowly, show up when invited, be professional, that's it. Instead, she did what she always does. Rushed in, demanded attention, and turned a potential long-term opportunity into a one-time publicity stunt.
When a former royal challenges Britain's sharpest tongue on live television, the result isn't just awkward.
That left everyone regretting their decision. People inside the brand say they were appalled by how the Paris appearance unfolded. These are executives who understand fashion history, who remember what Paris meant to Princess Diana. And then Meghan shows up trying to claim some of that magic for herself, turning it into a tacky photo opportunity. The comparison was inevitable and not flattering. Diana attended fashion events with grace, humility, and genuine interest in the designer's work. She used her platform to elevate others, not overshadow them.
Brace yourselves, because Marcus Anderson just tore the royal curtain wide open, and what he revealed is nothing.
Meghan did the opposite, made the entire event about herself, laughed at a model's misfortune, and generated headlines that buried the collection under drama. The senior executives who'd been considering that ambassador role immediately pumped the brakes. They realized what they were dealing with, someone who can't follow direction, someone who prioritizes personal publicity over brand reputation, someone who doesn't understand the difference between attention and respect. She had it handed to her. Again, just like when she got worldwide fame. Just like she had doors opening that most people could only dream of.
Glitz, glamour, and every camera flashing, and then boom. Meghan Markle steps onto that runway walkway.
And just like every other time, she kicked it all away at the 11th hour by doing something spectacularly stupid. The fashion house was ready to offer her exactly what she claimed to want, and she destroyed the opportunity before it could even happen. Now, those senior executives are quietly backing away. The ambassador conversations have stopped, the phone calls have dried up, and Meghan's left wondering why another opportunity slipped through her fingers, never realizing she's the common denominator in every failure. The photo started circulating almost immediately.
What happens when a seasoned journalist faces off against one of the most controversial figures in modern royal history? Well, you're about
Meghan in the back of a taxi with her feet propped up on the seats. It's the kind of casual moment most people wouldn't think twice about in their personal lives. But when you're trying to position yourself as sophisticated and worthy of high fashion's inner circle, those details matter. And the internet noticed. Critics pounced. Social media exploded with commentary about basic etiquette, about respect for shared spaces. It might seem like a small thing, but in luxury brands and elite fashion, these moments add up. They create an impression, and the impression Meghan left wasn't the one she intended.
Get ready to shocking news be, because after months, if not years of cold shoulders and closed doors in the U.S.,
the fashion house watched their carefully planned event get buried under an avalanche of Meghan-related controversy. The models who'd trained for weeks, who dreamed of this moment, they got pushed to the background. Their names didn't trend. Instead, every headline was about Meghan. Every social media post dissecting her outfit, her behavior, her motivations. The makeup artist who'd created stunning looks, zero recognition. ruin. The designers who'd spent months perfecting each piece saw their work reduced to that dress Meghan wore. The entire creative team became invisible.
What happens when a Hollywood star turned royal sits across from one of America's most beloved talk show hosts? Only for
Overshadowed by someone who showed up at the last minute and hijacked their moment. Here's the thing about the fashion industry, it runs on relationships, respect for the craft, for the people who dedicate their lives to creating beauty. When someone treats a fashion show like a personal photo shoot, when they turn a designer's vision into a backdrop for their own publicity campaign, the industry remembers. People talk. Reputations get damaged. The backlash wasn't just from random internet commenters. It was coming from inside the fashion world itself.
Oh, Paris Fashion Week, where the celebrities gather to pretend they don't care about being seen. And then there's Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Awkward Giggles.
Industry insiders quietly expressing disappointment and anger that their work had been treated so carelessly. The brand was losing goodwill with the very people who matter most. And Meghan seemed completely oblivious. She was reportedly thrilled with the photos, thought this was her triumphant return to relevance, believed she'd just opened doors to more fashion opportunities. But the phone stayed silent, no designers calling, no brands reaching out. The expected flood of opportunities never materialized. Because while Meghan was celebrating her Paris moment,
today we're diving into one of the most explosive daytime TV moments ever captured, where Kelly Clarkson
the fashion world was collectively deciding they'd seen enough. So what does Meghan do when a publicity stunt backfires spectacularly? She pivots fast. Within days of the Paris disaster, Meghan was spotted in New York, not at fashion events or designer showrooms, at charity functions. Back to the safe territory of good causes. The kind of work that's hard to criticize. It's a classic move when the glamour play doesn't work. Retreat to philanthropy and hope people remember the good deeds instead of the embarrassing headlines. But here's what makes this so transparent.
The mainstream media aren't telling you the truth about what happened at Fortune's Most Powerful Women's Summit in Washington.
Meghan loved those hotel exit photos. Sources confirm she was thrilled with the images of herself leaving the Plaza Athénée in designer gowns, looking polished and glamorous. She thought those pictures would become iconic, the kind of shots that define a fashion moment and cement someone's status in elite circles. She imagined designers seeing those photos and immediately wanting to work with her. Pictured invitations flooding in from fashion houses. She believed this Paris trip would position her as a serious fashion player, except none of that happened.
Why has Meghan Markle's best friend disappeared all of a sudden? The man who said...
The phone stayed silent. No designers reached out, no brands extended invitations, no fashion houses expressed interest. The doors she thought she was opening remained firmly closed. And that silence is more damaging than any critical article could ever be. Because when the fashion industry collectively decides to ignore you, there's no coming back. These are people who notice everything, who remember every misstep, who value authenticity and respect above all else. And Meghan's Paris appearance showed she has neither. So she's back in New York attending charity events.
Dude, she flies commercial, God forbid, first class clearly, with her entourage of
smiling for cameras, trying to remind people she cares about important causes. She's hoping the narrative shifts away from tacky publicity stunts and back toward meaningful work. She's banking on short attention spans and the public's willingness to give her another chance. But the charity pivot doesn't erase what happened in Paris, doesn't change the fact that she crashed a fashion show, overshadowed a collection, laughed at someone's misfortune, and got exposed for not even paying her own way. It doesn't fix the damaged relationships or restore the destroyed opportunities. And the people who matter, the industry insiders who could actually help her build a legitimate fashion presence, they're not watching her charity appearances.
Okay, picture this. Meghan Markle strutting out of Paris hotel like she's just won America's Next Top Duchess.
They've already moved on. They've already decided Meghan Markle isn't worth the risk, the drama, or the inevitable controversy that follows her everywhere. Let's bring this all together, because here's where the entire story collapses. Nobody involved in this Paris Fashion Week debacle is telling the truth. Not the creative director, not Marcus Anderson, not Meghan, and certainly not the fashion house trying to distance itself from the financial arrangements. The creative director says they were just texting, barely knew each other, Meghan's team hints at a deeper connection, an organic collaboration.
And in an industry that thrives on momentum, even a pause can feel permanent. There's a saying in fashion, you're only as relevant as your last friend.
The fashion house is backtracking on who paid for what, suddenly vague about the bills people confirm they covered. Everyone's scrambling to rewrite their version because the original story fell apart the moment people started asking questions. And here's the problem with lying. You've got to remember what you said, coordinate with everyone else, make sure the details align. That takes skill and people who actually know how to manage a crisis. Meghan doesn't have that. Her team can't even keep a simple story straight about how she ended up at a fashion show. If they can't be honest about who reached out first.
Oh, Paris Fashion Week, where the celebrities gather to pretend they don't care about being seen. And then there's Meghan Markle, the Duchess of...
What else are they hiding? The bills tell one story, the interviews tell another, the agency's silence tells a third. And somewhere in the middle is the truth, buried under layers of spin and desperate damage control. Because that's what this was, a disaster. Not the triumphant fashion moment Meghan envisioned. Not the brand relaunch Marcus orchestrated. Just a messy, poorly planned publicity stunt that left everyone looking worse. The fashion house is dealing with backlash from industry insiders. Marcus Anderson is watching his relationship with Meghan deteriorate over her inability to follow guidance.
About what happened at Fortune's Most Powerful Women's Summit in Washington, D.C. yesterday.
The creative director's probably regretting that interview. And Meghan's in New York, pretending Paris never happened, hoping people forget about the hotel bills, the rejected dress, the laughing incident, and the agency that ghosted her. But the internet doesn't forget. The fashion industry doesn't forget. And the people who were considering giving Meghan opportunities definitely don't forget when someone proves they're more trouble than they're worth. So here we are, another Meghan Markle venture that started with grand ambitions and ended in embarrassment.
Make no mistake, chums, this is a friendship hanging by a
Another opportunity wasted because she couldn't play the long game, follow advice, or resist making everything about herself. Another chapter in a pattern that's becoming impossible to ignore. And the saddest part? She'll probably do it all over again with the next opportunity that comes her way. So there you have it. The Paris Fashion Week appearance that was supposed to be Meghan's big comeback turned into one of the messiest celebrity disasters we've seen in a while. From the laughing incident to the financial arrangements that didn't add up.
What if the biggest Meghan Markle story wasn't about tiaras, tabloids, or royal feuds, but about something far
to her own agency pretending she doesn't exist? This whole thing was a masterclass in how not to rebuild your brand. If you found this story as wild as I did, go ahead and hit that like button. Drop a comment below and let me know. Do you think she'll learn from this, or is she going to pull the same move at the next opportunity? I want to hear what you think. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because there's always more to these stories than what you see in the headlines. And I'm here to break it all down for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.